For me, my family has never been accepting of me being myself unapologetically. Therefore, hence, I have not even been connected with my family in the past year. So I've just really been on this ride alone, solo dolo. I have people throughout my life that have ridiculed me, have called me all different types of names and everything. I'm literally at the point in my life to where none of it affects me anymore. I'm truly confident in who I am and I'm secure with who I am. I know that when I wake up in the morning, I look myself in the mirror, this is me. She is me.
That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Tell me how you feel. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Black excellence at its finest. How that skin glow, she's a true diamond. With the world at her back, she's still smiling. Never let that crown till she stays thriving. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Keep it real. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Is that really it though?
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back. This is Daz It Daz All, and I'm KC Carnage, your host, lots of things that we do. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I think the conversation that needs to be had around people just to get some education and be informed about it. Being Black and being trans here in America. And here at Daz It Daz All, we represent everybody. We are protectors of everybody. We are lovers of everybody. And we also understand that some people act out of ignorance because they just don't know. Here we're going to have the conversation, and I got some beautiful guests here. We got Coco Lanez.
Hey.
We have Whitney Williams. Don't get confused with Wendy. It's Whitney Williams.
What's up?
And we're going to talk about that today. I brought two guests that I felt have two separate views on this topic. One is a trans woman. One is a non-binary. They still have lived their life at some point as a Black woman, and they're going to talk about their stories about how their life has been and what, y'all need to know about them or people like them in general. So let's hop into it. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Iconic.
Okay, let's take a toast. Let's do a little quick toast. Black Girl Magic. We always represent. We got the red blend today. I'm trying it for the first time because I'm not really like a red girl. But cheers, 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 cheers.
Clink, clink, clink,
All
clink,
right,
clink,
let's
clink,
jump right into it. First, let's just talk about individually, like about yourselves, your journeys becoming who you are now, and tell the people your pronouns.
My name is Coco Lanez. My pronouns are she, them, and they. I started my journey, I want to say a good 2 years ago. However, I'm still journeying. I'm still going, through my process of transitioning. I'm still at the beginning stage. Needless to say, I'm a different form of trans. A lot of trans women have already exceeded, going through the hormones and some of the surgeries and stuff like that. Me, myself, personally, I'm just, I'm going through the beginning process right now. So I'm still having to do all of that eventually, but.
Okay. How about you, Whitney?
So I'm Whitney, identify as they, them. I'm non-binary transmasculine, which is a little bit, it all falls under a trans umbrella, but so I started transitioning about 3 years ago now. Got top surgery almost 3 years ago now. It's been fun. I don't know if the journey is over. I don't know if there's more like medical transitions to come, but I'm pretty happy right now. So
Let me ask you this. What is the difference between transmasculine and being a trans man?
So trans men are further along on the binary scale. So like say one end of the binary is like I am a man, whether that's a cis man, a trans man, and then the other end of the spectrum is like I'm a woman, cis, or trans. Mm. And so transmasculine is just like I'm further towards like that side of the scale, like more towards men, but like I don't feel comfortable being called he, him. Like I'm not a man. Mm-hmm. I think that I'm just on a different part of the scale. So
is that why you chose to keep a more, I guess, traditionally feminine name?
No, I just like my name. I mean, Whitney
Hey,
Williams.
okay,
How does that
period.
sound?
WW.
And
Iconic.
also, I don't even consider it traditionally feminine. Like when I was growing up, my mom had two best friends. Both of them were named Whitney. Both of them were men, like six
for real?
foot five. Like I always thought, like, yeah, my name's Whitney. I always thought it was like more like that. And then like, of course, there was Whitney Houston, but those are the only three Whitneys I knew. So I never even considered it like feminine until like.
Yeah, well, we were like, people that are not listening or people that are viewing. That's why I put the quote unquote, because like, you have names like Lauren. There's a lot of men's named Lauren. There's a lot of men named Stacy. So it's not really necessarily traditional. But when we talk about traditional, and I use the quotes, it's pretty much what the world views.
Yeah.
Like we're talking on a general worldly view.
I think more women have the name Whitney now than they did back then. But
I think Whitney is a win-win.
Right. WW. Period. Okay, so you said something about cis, right? Yeah. And I always want to know because like we're gonna talk about this later. I know that I gave you guys, the questions earlier, but I want to talk about that cis word, right? Is that something that, the LGBT community came up with, or is it something that like it actually, because I don't understand it because I just have lived and walked my life as a woman, So I was like, all this stuff started popping up and I was like, I'm cis? When did I become a cis? I mean, I am a cis, but like, when did that happen? So is that like something to identify? Was that like the indicators or the grouping of like, how did that come about?
Can I use my phone?
Yeah, use your phone.
Because you sent me that question, and I wanted to educate myself on it too as well. Because honestly, like I didn't know where it originally came from. So when I look it up, it says cis has been traditionally used as a prefix for same as, trans has, and comes from the Latin meaning of on the same side as, which sits at the opposite of trans. From the Latin and opposite side as, these terms have been used in scientific disciplines for centuries, such as in chemistry, geography, and genetics.
Okay, so some scientist was just like, you a cis woman, you a cis man. That's what you're trying to tell me?
Basically separating like women in a standpoint of being in their own context.
Okay.
So it's scientific. Like we didn't just come up with this one day. Like it was already there.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. See, I didn't know that, and like I was glad that you read it because when I looked it up, I wanted to see like if there was a different context for you, but we're all using in the same like definition context of like it being science being derived from
Me myself personally, I heard it. I heard it, excuse me, being said amongst like a lot of my peers, like, in the club scene, like, hey sis, like, and.
But see, I thought that was SIS, sis.
Yes.
So this whole time people been calling me CIS?
CIS.
Why didn't you know that?
I did not
cis
know that.
woman.
You learn something new every day.
Yes.
The whole time, like it's like, hey sis, when that came about, I was like, hey, the whole time. I feel people, y'all been identifying me the whole time, put me in the box the whole time. I had no idea. So that's good information. That's the information. So just so y'all know, when y'all was walking around, everybody was saying sis, they was saying you a cis woman. They wasn't calling you SIS. You're not their sister. Okay, so
it could be taken as both.
I suppose. I'm sure this, like you said, we were talking about your journeys, and I'm sure that like that had some highs and had some lows for you, for yourself, your family, your friends. How did can you give us insight about that? Like, how'd your friends take it? How'd your family take it? How you took it?
I mean, for me personally, I think I probably had a bit of an easier ride than others might, just because I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I will say, like, I had a lot of really loving, supporting friends. So, like, I came out as gay before I came out as trans. So, like, I already had, like, a community,
How
right?
old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was, wait, when I came out as gay? Or when I came out as gay? Oh, I was, like, 19.
Oh,
I just switched my settings on Tinder and went from there.
Oh, it just said swoop.
Yeah, so... And then I came out as trans when I was 25, and that was, like, during the pandemic. So my friends were all like, okay, yeah, period, like, cool. And my family... They actually surprised me. So like my grandmother was actually very, very like accepting, and she was like, whatever you need, baby, like I love you no matter like what, like who and how and whatever. Like my aunt was like, oh, like how should I introduce you to my kids, whatever. My uncle was really accepting. It was my mom that shocked me though, because I thought out of everyone my mom would be like, confused, but like, okay, like, cause I grew up as an only child with a single mom. So I thought she would just like go with it. But she was like upset. But I think she was more upset about me deciding to like chop off my boobs than she was like me actually being trans. Like she was confused. She was upset. Like she saw it as like her failure. She was like, well, how did you end up this way? And I was like, I'm surprised you didn't see it coming, honestly. Like I've been who I've been since I was born.
But isn't that like a thought though? Like our parents and their generation, like the stuff that they have to learn so rapidly all of a sudden, and we're living in a world where we are accepting of so many things, we're living in so many things. True. And we look at our parents and it's like, you should love us, but at the same time there's some grace, with our parents that has to be, because that's not something they've seen. They really don't know a lot of the times. So it's usually like the more liberal ones, the ones that are really like, okay, I don't understand this, but let me find out, let me do the research, because one thing I do know is that I love my child. That's the one thing that I do know. So like, how did your mom come around?
I think that was her North Star, honestly. Like, well, no matter what, like I love my kid. Even she did say some hurtful things. Like I remember the most hurtful thing she said was like, well, if now you identify as a man or non-binary, like who's gonna love you if you don't even like men? And I was like, who's gonna love me? Everyone.
Do you know how many bitches I'm getting, Mom? Relax.
No,
I'm just joking.
Period. But you know what I'm saying.
Period. But
nah, she did come around to it. I sent her a book written by I want to say it was written by Alok Menon. And like she read that and really like kind of resonated with it. It took her a minute to really like sit with it, but just knowing that she loves me no matter what was her North Star.
Okay. And how are your relationship now with her?
We're good. She doesn't fuck up my pronouns that much. So that's cool. And she's trying, and she lives in North Hollywood and stuff, so she tries her best to introduce me the way I like to be introduced, and it's good. But it's still a little rocky though. Like I still have to like correct her a lot and like call her out on some stuff, but
yeah, but isn't that funny with our parents? It's like, is your parents like, your mom around like that new school, like that old school kind of like?
Oh, she definitely.
Look, like, look, I said it, leave me alone, but it's like, we have to correct you. Like, we have to correct you because it's also too fighting for your individuality. It's fighting for your right to be who you want to be. And that includes checking our parents. It includes checking our closest people. It includes checking people that may have known you, but something like, I remember I had a friend. And we started working together. I think I told you the story before. And at our job, his name was Ben, right? So, like, I'm working with you every day. Ben, boo, boo, boo. Hey, Ben, what's up, what's up, what's up? And then we ended up at this party. And then I saw him again. And I was like, hey, Ben, my name is Sater. I was like, okay, Sater, cool. So I was calling him Sater. Then, like, a couple months passed after that. And I was like, hey, Sater. He was like, my name is Maya. Okay, Maya, like at this point, I can't keep up. You don't got no more time to tell me who you are. And I'm just gonna say I love you. Hey boo, hey love. That's where no shade. You call me lazy if y'all want to, but that's one of the reasons why I literally call everybody boo and love, because I don't want to offend anybody. But I also know that because I also speak so fast, I'm gonna mess up sometimes. I'm human. So I had to keep it safe. Hey boo, hey love. Isn't that so sweet?
It is.
Like it's sweet, and it's also still very inclusive, but when I'm introducing, them, I like to say them, this is who they are, you know what I mean? But I think that, again, this whole conversation is about giving yourselves grace, but giving other people grace, and also standing on your ground,
I think there's a limit to that grace, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, I've had bosses before, I ain't gonna name no names, where, like, they prefaced, like, my employment with them by being like, oh, like, give me 6 months to get your pronouns right. I'm like, you got 2 weeks.
I gave
you got 2 weeks and maybe the occasional slip up. But like at a certain point, it's like if you care enough about a person and care enough about like their feelings, you learn, you figure it out.
Yeah, just not like blatant disregard.
Yeah, because at a certain point, it's just disrespectful.
Right.
It's like you just don't care.
Exactly. How about you, Coco? How did your family and friends, did you get any pushback?
For me, my family has never been accepting of me being a part of the LGBTQ or of, like, me being myself unapologetically. Therefore, hence, I have not even been connected with my family in the past year. So I've just really been on this ride alone, solo dolo, thus far. Giving myself grace, giving myself that courage and confidence. Every day I wake up and I look myself in the mirror and I'm like, you are that girl. I continue living my life like you are that girl because I know I am that girl. I have people throughout my life that have, ridiculed me, have called me all different types of names and everything, but it's literally like water off of a leather jacket. I'm literally at the point in my life to where none of it affects me anymore. I'm truly confident in who I am and I'm secure with who I am. I don't have any need to want to be anybody else. I have no need to try to pretend to be anybody else. I know that when I wake up in the morning, I look myself in the mirror, this is me. She is me.
Okay, she is me. I love that you're in a position where you have stepped into your own and you're pretty much like, I don't care. You're going to accept who I am. But like, that has to be difficult for you to not be connected to your family, like to not, you know what I mean? Like,
it didn't happen overnight.
It didn't?
It didn't. I started my spiritual journey, so to speak, because, we're in the times, the Aquarius, the year of the awakening, I started my journey last year. Around this time, the same exact time, I was completely homeless. I had a whole bunch of people around me that didn't have my best interests at heart. I was misguided. I was doing things that I never in a million years thought I would see myself doing, and I separated myself from there. I left Los Angeles, which is where I'm born and raised, and I went to Vegas in Nevada. And I know you probably thinking like, why would you leave the city of angels to go to Sin City for a spiritual awakening?
Sometimes you need an awakening. Sometimes.
Girl, I was asking myself the same thing, but to be honest, everything aligned perfectly. God's plan for me, I felt aligned perfectly. I left Los Angeles, I went to Vegas, I found me a nice job, I was working in Caesar's Palace, I was working at the Venetian resorts, I was doing a dang thing. But then I was starting to feel stagnant like I was feeling back in L.A. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a lot of support because I didn't know a lot of people out there. So I ended up moving back and, fast forward to today, now that I've separated all of those people, even family, I now have a full-fledged 9-to-5. I have my first apartment that I just moved in to like about a month ago. And I'm doing my thing. I'm moving day by day, taking it day by day. Excuse me.
Congratulations.
It's okay. It's okay. Congratulations. It's congratulations. I mean, here's the thing about like elevating and enlightenment, right? Like even if you're not, LGBT community, if you're not trans, even if you want to call yourself cis, there is a time where we're all struggling, and it's all about figuring who we are out, regardless of what you identify as. It's really like who you're sitting inside with, who you're waking up with, who you're looking in the mirror as. And it comes that aha moment where you really are like, this is who I am. This is what I want to be. This is where I want to go. And that is one of the most powerful feelings. And a lot of that time, it does come out of some of the darkest places. Like we've all hit rock bottom and didn't know what we were going to do, scrambling around with I know I have. Like we can talk about some stories. Like I literally moved here from Los Angeles, not going into the music field. I just want to move. I don't like where I'm at here in New Jersey. I graduated. I wasn't using my degree. Like there was a lot of stuff happening, and I knew that I had to make a difference. I literally moved to LA with $250, and 6 suitcases. And my journey from then and now has been up and down. It's been up and down. But like there was a time in my life where said, hey, this is who I am. And that is a powerful feeling because when you have purpose, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's a new job, whether it's somebody you love, when you have some purpose and it clicks off in your head, that force behind it comes right along with it.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I'm so glad you reached that space in time because it's hard. And sometimes you don't see it when it's dark.
I had several moments that I had in Vegas to where I booed, cried, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have the support. I didn't have the friends. I didn't have the family that was supporting me like I thought I would, you know what I'm saying? And each day it just helped me build more character, helped me strengthen myself, you know what I'm saying? So now like I said, it's literally like water off of a leather jacket. It's really like that. So whenever because even now where I'm working, I have people who, out of ignorance, I want to say it's out of ignorance because when it comes to the pronouns, everybody knows that that's a thing now, and if you don't know, once we let you know that it's something, then it's up to you respectfully to decipher, okay, am I going to present them as this, or am I going to ignorantly continue to present them as what I want to present them as?
And I know you guys have gotten it out in the streets. I know you guys have had
baby, it
your
happens
struggles.
every day for me.
I know you've had to lack of better words, cuss somebody out about what's going on. Like, how is that this walk have been for you guys? Like, how has it been walking in that light for you, just good and bad?
So I gotta say, I've only been out as trans like for about 3 years now, so I've only had 2 jobs while being out, and it's been really rough. Like actually being like, first of all, probably the only Black person in whatever office I'm at. I don't want to say where I was working at before, but just know it was one of those big ones, streamers. So I was working there, and like I was the only Black person, I was the only trans person, and I was one of very few people who might look like a woman, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was in that office looking different and being different, and like I definitely felt the difference too. So like I would see like all the other, pretty little cis girls walking in, and like they'd get different treatment. People would talk to them, and like I felt like they wanted me there because obviously I was there because I'm good at what I do, but at the same time I felt like there was hesitancy in engaging with me. And like I could see the difference. So I think that's kind of also been part of my experience, like at work. And it's an odd one because people don't know what to do with me. Like I very much see myself as like a boy, and then other people might not. So then they're like, okay, but we know you're not a woman, but my eyes might be deceiving me, but you also dress different. So it's tough interacting with people sometimes. They don't really know what to do with me.
Do you ever feel like you have to just like walk into a place and say, here's a list, here's a scroll on how to treat me, this is how you talk to me?
Honestly,
what's up?
And most of the time I have to walk into the room and be like, I'm Whitney, my pronouns are they, them, you only get 2 fuck ups. Period.
How about you, Coco?
Me, it's literally upon like me meeting people. Thus far where I work at, I have a lot of people who approach me, and they, first off, I'm not hard to miss. I'm 6'3", like, you know what I'm saying? So when I walk into a room, everybody's already all eyes on me. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes down to it, I'm always presenting myself as such. Like I have my hair laid. I make sure that my makeup is looking good. So when it comes down to it, and I hear the, oh, sir, I'm just like, you see this wig, you see this mug, like, you know what I'm saying, in my head. But in all actuality, like when it comes down to it, I correct them, and I'm like, it's ma'am. And you know what I'm saying? And either they'll be for it or they won't. And either way, I just let it go.
I live for a good correction because I don't know, like I've always been a person who has been very, and I think that was a difference between, I wouldn't say all my family or all my friends, but I grew up kind of conservative in a suburb of New Jersey, and I always felt like I was out of the box, like just in thinking, just how I did things, like how I moved, as to why I felt like where I was at was way too small for me. And I've always been an ally because I personally don't care. Like, I feel like if everybody minded their business more and did more of what made them happy, people would be happy. Like, what affects me as a quote unquote cis woman if you want to have top surgery or if you want to become the woman that you are? Why does that affect me? So I always felt like when people have these conversations about, oh, this, like, especially when it comes to the kids, right? I was like, oh, we're going to take this cartoon off because it's promoting this. How is it promoting anything? It's giving representation of what's happening in the world. It's giving people and children. Now, I do believe that, let me go back before I said this. I do believe there's a certain level of protection you should have over younger children. Whatever that is to you as a parent, that's your decision. Because just in general, kids are very malleable. They're developing their own personalities and stuff like that. So I think there is a barrier of trying to figure out, like, is this what my kid wants? is this a phase because they're seeing it? I do think that's a difficult topic for a parent that's dealing with a child that is trans or is claiming that they are gay. I do understand that tug of war. However, at the end of the day, it's ultimately going to be their decision. And I guess as a parent or as a friend or a family member, it is a treading water. It is a tug of war. And I get that aspect too. But I think that at the end of the day, if we all lead with love and try to find some level of understanding on both sides of where everyone is coming from, that person will become where they're going to be regardless.
But I think there's also, like with the kids, I think, yes, kids can be impressionable, whatever, but no kid's going to be like, oh, you know what? I see a trans person. I'm trans now.
Well, you
No,
never
it's
know.
not that. I mean,
You never
it's-
know. I'm not saying that that's what happens.
Yeah.
But like, I do understand the idea of a child being impressionable. I mean, like think about it. Like I, at least, like, so I grew up like early, like I guess I started going to school like 94 up until high school. I graduated in 2006, right? I do know that then and now the number of children that came out gay or teenagers that came out gay are way more now. Now, I'm not saying that has anything to do with influence or anything like that. I do think that was different time periods of like feeling like they were more sheltered than more liberal.
Well, I think the biggest, I'm sorry not to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
go ahead.
I think the biggest difference is that there's more people out there living their truth now. So more people can see themselves in these other people that are out there living their lives. And like, I think with kids in particular, the more exposure they have to different things, the more they can find themselves in pieces of whatever, whomever. And I think that they should be allowed to choose what their gender expression is.
Absolutely choose. Or I'm talking about more so, like I was reading this article about a parent deciding on whether they wanted to do hormones for their children. I'm talking about more medically. I'm talking about more.
What age bracket are we speaking on?
They were between 7. I was reading an article. It was between 7 and 11. It was in that bracket. And that was challenging for me. You know what I mean? I can't even lie about that because at the end of the day, like, yes, we want to support our children. But I feel like when it comes to like surgeries or like medical things, I do feel like there needs to be a little bit of time there. There needs to be a little bit only because kids are impressionable.
True.
Like, you know what I mean? And that's my only thing. Now, if you want to walk around and say you a boy and wear a cap, I don't have no problem with that. But when it comes down to saying, mommy, I'm a boy, or mommy, I'm a girl, I want to take medicine, I want to change my body, that needs a little bit more thought, in my opinion.
I feel like it would be a certain age range. I feel like when you're in your teens, it's like mostly the most viable time to, you know what I mean, be able to decide that. I put out there Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's daughter. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that was perfectly done. The way that, you know what I mean, they were able to transition the age range and everything like that. I feel like that would suffice. You know what I'm saying?
And I also believe that they did a lot of they talked. There was a lot of dialogue around that, which I think that was very important. And I know for Dwayne Wade as a masculine identifying man, that was hard for him. But it was a lot of talking and dialogue. You can tell by the graduation of how that happened. It wasn't like, oh, I'm this whatever. Like it gradually happened because they wanted to make sure. And that's what I mean about like treading lightly with your children. You know what I mean? Don't say no. Don't say you can't.
I feel like what happens is in today's day and age, you know, like I said, it's the year of the awakening. Some people are being triggered, you know what I mean, off the littlest things. So when it comes to, and it's sad to say, but for the youth, like, you know what I mean, it's a little bit harder, you know, because a lot of parents are stuck in the past. And a lot of them are, some of them, well, not a lot of them, but some of them are projecting, you know what I'm saying, their own insecurities.
Counseling,
their own
counseling
fears.
and therapy, I think everybody needs, whether you black, white, whatever, straight, whatever, everybody needs, because people are walking around with past notions and different experiences and time gaps and just like, you know what I mean? Like their parents didn't see what their parents did. Like it's always moving forward because we're pushing the pin forward. And sometimes we have to meet halfway. There's a bridge that has to happen because also too, I also don't think it's fair to say what you believe is incorrect as well. Like I don't believe that to be true because even though I'm fighting to be who I am, I also have to understand you are who you are because you fought for who you wanted to be as well. So there's some type of bridge that needs to be happening. And all you can do is talk about it, communicate, talk about it, try to understand, educate yourself. Educate, because I think with more knowledge comes more understanding anyway. And even if it's not for you or you don't understand it, do you love this person? Because at the end of the day, if you love this person, you are going to push past whatever you're feeling about their decisions. As long as they're not harming themselves and harming somebody else, why do you care?
True. I feel like if I was a parent to a kid, like I would just want to make sure my kid is as informed and educated as possible. Like, not saying they have to make any decisions right away or anything, but just in general about the world, like informed about, who's out there, like what kind of people are out there, like what kind of people you're going to meet, like just educate
them.
Period.
Yeah, educate them because like we know way more than our parents knew.
It's not protecting anybody by keeping things away from
Don't
somebody.
Withhold
like
information.
Educating the kids on everything is only going to help them.
We have these now, like the phones,
we have the
tablets
telephone.
and stuff,
They gonna
the
educate
internet.
themselves.
So a lot of the youth, like, and they see things on social media and stuff like this, so they can easily, and it's in the cartoons, like, it's in the TV shows.
It's in everything,
nowadays.
as it should.
So
as it
it's
should.
like, a lot of kids nowadays are a little bit more educated than their parents, and I feel like sometimes that can feel insulting towards the parent. Like the parents can feel insulted by that. You know what I'm saying? They feel like, oh, you think you know more than me, like, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately speaking, I feel as though it is their decision.
Okay. Well, great thoughts on that topic. Let's just jump into a little tea, though. You know what I mean? Yes, we're serious. We're spitting out facts, but let's jump. Like, I want to know, and we can't brush past the dialogue that's been happening between Just Hilarious and T.S. Madison about the thoughts of a natural woman and owning periods. What do you think about that? Like, we talked a little bit about in the car the other day, but I want to hear y'all thoughts about it.
Well, like I said, I'm sorry. I don't
No,
know.
please.
Okay.
You should start.
Well, as we talked about in the car, I know for a fact that women are not gatekeeping periods. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know that women suffer a lot more than trans women do. Like, when it comes down to the works of the body, you know what I'm saying? I don't take any of that from a woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm very supportive of women. I see women every day. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because I know what it feels like to feel insecure. You know what I'm saying? So I know that for a fact when I see a woman and I see how she's dressed, if she's giving fashion, I'm gonna pay her roses. I'm gonna be like, sis, you're giving what you're supposed to be giving. Yes, there we go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, you know what I mean? Ultimately speaking, it's my pleasure to big up a cis woman, a regular woman, like, you know what I'm saying, and commend them for, you know what I mean, their confidence, because I know that women do, like, you know what I'm saying, bring a lot to the table. For myself personally, like, I don't want a menstrual cycle. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that I want.
Take it all.
I know that it's a burden, or well, not a burden. It's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? For someone to,
it's a burden.
That when you're giving birth to a child, and I think of that as a blessing. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely
I
a
think
blessing.
it also depends on what circumstance it is, but ultimately bringing a new life into the world, I think that's a blessing. I think that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? But I feel as though, with that, touching base on that topic, I feel as though the trans woman that, spoke about what she spoke about wasn't necessarily in the right, and I'm just going to say that right off the bat because I feel as though her approach towards that was completely foul, and it wasn't needed. It wasn't warranted, Just Hilarious's response, I feel as though she was upset. She was angry. And like we spoke about in the car, I did feel as though, like, off the bat, it was a little bit rude the way that she responded. However, I don't take from the passion of, where she was coming from as a woman,
Right. So what I would say about it, and as we were talking about it in the car, is that, like, I get it. I'm sorry. Like, anatomy. We're going to talk about anatomy. We're going to talk about that. Like the idea to be like, I can't say I'm a natural woman is crazy to me. Like that, I'm sorry, I'll say it. Like I will say I'm a natural woman. You could say you a natural woman too, but I'm gonna let you know you're not about to tell me I can't say I'm a natural woman. When I'm like you're not about to do that. Like that's just overboard because at the end of the day, like I get it. Like you know what I mean. You're pushing that envelope forward to say and stand for your right to say I am a woman, but you're not about to tell women that they're not real women. Like that's crazy to me. I'm sorry. Now, as far as Jess's response to it, like I do think it was harsh, but I don't think maybe because it's an East Coast thing. I didn't take it as harsh. I took it as very direct, and because she's also a comedian in more of a masculine style of comedy, even though she's a feminine woman, it came out as if she wasn't a girl and a guy said it that way, it wouldn't have been aggressive. It wouldn't have been deemed rude. It would have been deemed as a response, like I'm coming back at you. Because if I was and she's also from the streets of Baltimore. If anybody she clapped back on a subject that she can clap back on. So I don't necessarily think it's rude. I think that again they need to have the conversation. I do think that she has said some comments that have been very offensive. Before. So I think whatever animosity that was coming from her before comments trickled into this comment. But if we had to talk about just this comment, I think that she responded the way she should have. But I understand why she got a little fire because you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Women fighting about being women is crazy to me. That whole thing was wild just because I feel like it's like you got one woman talking to another woman being like, who's more of a woman? Like, first of all, what is a woman? You know what I'm saying? Like, in my opinion, I don't even know what to say about it. Personally, gender is a construct, first of all. I don't think any of it's real. So like the concept of like two people fighting over who's more of a woman is insane.
I think
you
that
both
it
are
was
just
just
different
taking
people.
out of context, like you said.
We're talking
like,
about
like
anatomy.
we're basically right now. Both sides are fighting with the government, like you know what I'm saying. Like we're both going to war with the government, basically.
For real,
so,
what are y'all really arguing about?
It's really given like we need to come together and kumbaya, my lord. Like you know, like
I mean, fight for your right. That's what I say. Fight for your right to be whoever you want to be. At the end of the day, I like to be called a woman. I stand by my womanhood. I make babies. I have periods. I stand by for those who identify as trans masculine, a drag queen, a cis woman. I stand by. Be who you want to be.
Period.
Like, period. That's really what it really boils down to. Before we head out of here, I do want to play a quick game. And then we're going to head out, okay? So I'm going to read y'all 2 questions. The game is called Roll With It or Bounce, right? It's going to be some random questions, and you're going to let me know if you would roll with it, meaning that it's okay, like I would do it, or you would bounce, okay? And this is typically about your dating. All right. They're the type to go with the flow. Would you roll with it, or would you bounce?
Like in what way?
you got to describe
Like
go
they
with
go
the
with
flow.
the flow. Like they go for the flow. Usually, like people that go with the flow are more nonchalant. They don't really make plans.
I'm out. Nah. That's
You bounce?
No,
You
that's a no
bouncing?
for me. Yeah.
I'm a bounce too because you need to know what you want to do. Like you know what I mean? Like
I need a date night. I need you to tell me to show
like,
If I
up.
ask you what you
like,
want
I
for
want-
dinner, like, don't be like, whatever you want.
yes,
it won't be.
like what do you you want to go? Where do you want to go for the date? What do you want to do on the date? Like that. What? Like that should be up to the guy. I feel like you know what I mean. He should decide like where we're going to go, what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's all in the field of like being romantic. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I would revise that and just be like, whoever asked who out on the date should be the one to plan it. Like,
Very
That's
much
or the ones to
so.
pay.
That
Very much so.
I'm not paying regardless. I'll ask you. You still playing. Period. But that's just me. Okay, so I think I would bounce too because I'm also a type A. Like I usually do most of the planning because like my friends get mad at me too. Like, would you even let anybody plan anything? I was like, probably not. But it's nice to be asked. It's nice to have people with a plan. But I also like to be around people that got plans. Like, you know what I mean? Don't invite me to no boo boo event and you don't know what's going on with this event. Like you already know I'm gonna show up and walk back out. Like you, it's like you gotta know who you're dealing with. So I would bounce. Okay, next question. They call you babe, honey, sweetie within the first 3 months of dating. Would you roll with it or bounce?
Roll.
I'll roll with it.
I would totally roll with it. Claim me.
I'll
Like,
roll
if you
with
ain't
it,
calling me babe
yeah.
within the first week of us talking, out.
I'm doing something wrong, right? We do.
I think it's everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? For the other person to feel confident and, you know what I'm saying, claiming you, because that's everything. That speaks volumes too. It lets you know where you guys are, where you guys stand, and you're not in limbo. Like,
You know, it's funny. I'll tell you a funny story. Like when I was back, I'm within a. I can't even say it because I'm about to say something real outlandish. I'm all tongue tied. I am in a current relationship now that I love, and we're chilling. But back in the day when I was out in these streets, I would never like have people like say my name. I would never say nobody's name. Like I was nameless. Everybody was nameless because I didn't want to get caught up. So the whole babe and honey thing, that was my that was my like cover up. Like no shade. It was like, hey babe, hey honey. Like, so I don't call you Kyle or Jerome by accident.
oh my goodness.
Me. Okay, the last question is, they order your food for you at the restaurant.
Hell no.
Rolling with it, bouncing with it.
Hell no.
You said bounce.
I'm bouncing.
I mean, if they know what I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they know what I like, say, is it a time frame? Like, as
No,
to, like,
it just said they just order your food at the restaurant.
okay, if we was like together, like, you know what I mean, for like about like what 2 months or whatever, and like they know what I like, they know what I usually get at this. Okay, so
I'm a roll
That-
with it,
that goes.
and I'm gonna tell you I'm a roll with it.
But-
I'm a princess. I don't want to do nothing. Like if I walk up to this, she be like she said, if like I drink the same thing. Like I don't really drink hard alcohol. I drink the same couple of things, right? And if you are getting to know me and I come to a place and you already got my Aperol spritz there, you know the restaurant and you know the best dishes and you order, because I like to also eat family style. Like I'm in your plate. Like
Well, I think that's different if like they know you, they know things that you like. Like that's cute.
yeah. Or like just the person that's just ordering for you all the time. She's like, nah.
If it was like a first, second date and like they're like, oh, and she'll have the
that,
salad.
that would kind of be off. a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
That would be
like
kind of awkward.
Okay, okay. Well, I just want to say thank y'all so much. And that was Roll With It or Bounce. Thank y'all so much for playing with me. I also like to end my shows with toast to ourselves or toast to someone else. What advice would you guys give to somebody who is going through that journey and is searching for themselves in that journey? Or it could be a letter to your younger self. What would you say to your younger self? Or if you want to throw it to somebody else?
I think for my younger self, I would probably say come out sooner. Like if I would have came out sooner and just like been more of myself, I feel like things would have been a lot different. But I'm also like, I just wish I would have found community sooner, and I think that would have helped me.
Okay.
Me, I would tell my younger self and the younger generation up underneath us right now to never give up. Don't give up. If you believe in something, believe in it, and don't never let nobody try to play devil's advocate to make you think anything lesser than. If that's what you believe it and take it all the way through, because at the end of the day, you are your own worst critic. And
Period.
you don't have no time to let anybody come in and dictate your life.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. If any of you guys have resonated with anything we talked about today, if you are looking for help, and you are going through your process, you're going through your transition, or you're just looking for somebody to talk to because you're not sure or what you want to do. And that's all right as well, because at the end of the day, that's all we're here in life, is to search and find the happiest of happiness that we can actually have for ourselves.
Just have
You
patience.
can, and have patience. You can go check out one of your local support centers, your LGBTQ support centers. Am I saying that right?
Yes, LGBTQ.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Support centers. There's There's one here locally in LA. If you have any questions for us, for Whitney, for Coco, for myself, please don't hesitate to send us a note, send a comment, like, subscribe, hit us up on YouTube. We're on all the streaming platforms. Again, we got Coco Lanez.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. This was fun. I really am happy to be able to do this because I feel as though we need more of this. We need more open discussions to where, like, you know, not everybody needs to go like head to head, like, you know what I'm saying, or like feel like they're talking at each other and not with each other. And I felt as though this right here is a platform for us to talk with each other and really understand.
Absolutely. And then we got Whitney Williams.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a fun conversation. Yeah, I love it.
All right, y'all. And y'all know what it is. That's it.
That's
all. Daz It Daz All is written by me, KC Carnage, and produced by myself and Barrio Dill. Associate producer, Bri Coorey. Assistant producer, Larissa Donahoe. Audio and video engineering and studio facilities provided by S.L.A.P Studios LA with distribution through our collective for social progress and cultural expression, S.L.A.P the network. If you have any ideas for a show you want to hear or see, please email us at info@slapthepower.com. And as always, go to dazitdazall.com and sign up there to make sure you will never miss a thing. See you next show.